OCA. Ocala.
Keep your radio tuned right where it is and go online to Facebook and go to the Facebook page called In the Garden, because those two things work together. This show and Carol Ann Baldwin's website, In the Garden, work together because we quite often mention things on that Facebook page. And all you have to do is ask, can I be part of you all? And Carol Ann will say, sure, why not? This is called In the Garden with Carol Ann. Your calls are an important part of the show. The number is 622-9622. Good morning, Carol Ann.
Good morning, Larry. How are you doing this morning?
Good. Look, it's raining out there a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit of rain. Yeah, I'm glad I got what I needed to get done.
Just enough.
Done real early. Yeah, it's just going to raise the humidity up again.
It says it's 82 degrees out there right now.
Yeah,
That's probably possible.
Yeah, I believe it.
Wow.
Yeah, easy. Yeah, it's 9 o'clock. It's August. It's
yeah.
One of those things. That time of year, it's hot early, it's muggy, but you know what, it's funny, yesterday afternoon, we had a little bit of a breeze, at least, in South Ocala.
Yes, we did.
Little bit of a breeze without the rain. I mean, the skies were clear, so it wasn't one of those breezes that come in right before you're going to get a storm.
Yeah.
And it sort of goes, that's normally what we start to feel next month, kind of thing. But wishful thinking. Because it was funny talking with a fellow coworker, and he's not from the area, not originally, and I don't think he's been here too long, really, and that his thought is, September things will start to cool down. It's like, no,
maybe a little.
Maybe a little. The humidity may drop some, but really not until about October or late September. Or you get some nice evenings and things here and there, a couple of nice mornings as the month of September goes through. But still, we got to get through August. The dog days of summer are generally that August, September time for July, August, September.
When you lived up north, did you spend much time commuting on the subway?
No, never.
Because that was we were talking about this yesterday. How in August in New York, the subway is like an oven. It is unbelievably hot. And Robin's going up there tomorrow.
Oh, fun. Where I was from, it was all everything. Well, I was a teenager when I left, so it was either by bicycle or by your parents driving.
We should make a billboard to promote your show, and it should say from the Garden State, even though you've lived here forever. The Garden State, Master Gardener. Just capitalize on that whole garden thing.
Garden State kind of thing.
Yeah. You ready for some phone calls?
Sure.
All right, and everybody's invited to call. The number is 622-9622. I take them as they come, so first come, first serve. And also know this, that when I answer the phone, you don't hear anybody say hello or good morning or anything. You just hear it click, and you can hear Carol Ann or myself talking. And then when Carol Ann takes a breath, I will make sure that she knows that she's got a call. Good morning. You're on the air with Carol Ann.
Well, I want to say hello, Carol Ann and Larry, and good morning to you all.
Good morning. How are you this morning?
Oh, pretty good. I was up in Wisconsin last week where I was enjoying. I don't think we'd hit an 80 up there while I was up there all weekend. The humidity was only in the 40% range, so I wish I could have brought some of that back, but we'll get there in October.
Oh, yeah.
Say, last November I had a large tree removed from my backyard, and I had the root thing chipped out, and I kind of cleaned it up and let it set. And I until just the other day, because for settling, because that stuff always kind of settles. So I did have some cold spots, so I went and got about a dozen bags of topsoil and, made it real nice and put some grass seed in there, watered it in. I'm wondering if it would be important to put, I was thinking maybe pine cool needles over the top a little bit, or maybe that might not be necessary this time of year.
No, I wouldn't worry about it. It should come up without a problem. It's still warm, still plenty of rain. It should germinate rather quickly. And then what do you do? If you got the pine needles down, what do you? It's got to fight to try to come up and through that. I don't know if they really do. I know in northern states they did used to use straw, I guess is what it was, across, but it wasn't pine straw. It was actually like wheat straw. But yeah, I don't think that's really that necessary for us here. And I don't know whether or not it would be, kind of tough to get that out of there. Once the grass actually started to come up, because you wouldn't want to rake through it and pull up that new growth.
Right. What is the idea behind it, like up north? Is that to hold moisture in the ground?
I think to hold moisture, to keep the warmth in, keep birds out of it, things like that. I mean, I know we can have the bird issue, but I don't know if they really go after the grass seed as much as, as if you were going through and actually insect issues or, trying to keep that moisture level. And I don't think we really have that big of a problem with that this time of year.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I've had several areas in my yard where I've seeded successfully. Mm-hmm. Never had a bird problem. Up north, we got a property up north, and I had some seed put down, and the tenant said that after we left, the bird seed was gone, and about a day was gone by the birds. They just love bird seed up north, but not down here. So it was kind of a local problem.
And it could be just the availability of other foods for the birds here year round.
Yeah.
That it's not something that they're so much of ground seed feeders as they are, berries and the rest of the things that, are coming off of the bushes and the other flowers.
Yeah, the only thing I really worry about with laying seed down, especially this time of the year, is having a big downpour and having a washout. Could I throw like a cover over that when I think the storm is coming, just for during the storm time to help keep the water from washing away the seed? Would that be a good idea?
You could, I suppose, and that would be the same type of thing of putting the straw or pine straw down. But if you put the seed down and sort of tamped that into the soil that's there, it shouldn't wash out too bad. I mean, normally, you're not just throwing it right on top and leaving it. You're going back through with the rake and just sort of tamping that in there to get a good contact, and hopefully you're beginning to get a little germination going on within about a week or so. During the certain times a year, it takes, up to 3 weeks or so before you'll get 3 or 4 weeks before you get germination. But this time of year, it should be rather quickly.
Rather quick. Yeah, they want the seed about 1/8 of an inch into the dirt, so it's kind of protected that way.
Right. Yeah. It's protected, and it's getting enough to where the little root, when the little root pops out of there, it's going to have good contact with that soil to get it started and growing.
When would be the first time to fertilize something new like that?
Not until after you've needed to mow it a couple times.
Okay, fine, we'll do. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Phone lines are open again. If you want to call in, the number is 622-9622. Ask about your lawn, your garden, and the things that the weather might be necessary to make changes. I don't know,
or different things with, and it's with any of with any grasses. If you're putting down fresh sod, if you're seeding, overseeding, anything like that, we don't want to put anything really down, right away. Sometimes you can treat, if you've had an insect problem. My biggest thing was, if you're treating for the insects, treat it before you put the new down. But no, you can't do a weed and feed. You can't, you don't even, if you're going to spot spray for weeds, you're staying away from those areas that you've either just put in sod down or put the seed down. Fertilization, stay away from, it's just too strong for those fine roots. And so realize that, give it some time. It is here middle of August. If you did put seed down, you should have that established in there a little bit to where you've had to have mowed over it somewhat before that final fertilization for the winter months. Just to get that, so take care of all that stuff now so that you'll be able to, if you do a fertilization program within your lawn, that you can get that down, before it gets late.
Do you know, I was just thinking of it. This is sort of kind of related, but not directly. My grandfather, when I was a kid, would tell me that if you see the dragonflies flying low to the lawn, close to the lawn, that means rain's going to come. Have you ever heard that before?
No, I hadn't.
So I was just looking to see if I saw any dragonflies. I had a dragonfly in my porch the other day.
Yeah.
And I left the door, the screen door open so that it would figure out how to get out.
Right.
Yeah, and it's bouncing back and forth into the screen. And a lizard, which is half its size, is looking at it, and I'm thinking,
actually, between the two, it's hard to say who would win, because a dragonfly is a carnivore as well.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, he could eat
He's a predator
the lizard?
as well. Yeah, he's a predator,
They
too.
would eat a lizard, really?
If it was small enough, probably.
But it was small enough.
Yeah.
He was. The lizard looked like he thought he could eat that thing.
Right. It was probably one of those. They might have been sizing each other up. It's for dragonflies being the predators that they are kind of they're dumb as a bug. I see them at where you try to rescue them and get them. It's don't be way up there. You can't get out.
Exactly.
You need to come down further and you can get out.
But he must have got out because I didn't see him anymore.
Didn't see him later.
I went out there.
Good.
All right, we are up against the break. We'll take a break and be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. On this Tuesday, partly sunny with a thunderstorm in parts of the area, the high between 90 and 94. Then for Tuesday night, partly cloudy, those 74 to 78. Wednesday, intervals of clouds and sun. It'll be a very warm and humid day with a shower or thunderstorm around, mainly during the afternoon hours over the interior, high 90 to 94. Thursday, clouds and some sun with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm, high 89 to 93. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm Joe Lundberg.
Feeling creative or looking for inspiration? The Appleton Museum of Art has something for you with a full schedule of studio art classes and workshops for adults, teens, children, and even pre-K. Classes begin as early as September and cover a broad range of subjects for all skill levels, including drawing, painting, clay, mixed media, sculpture, and more. For more information or to register, call 352-291-4455 or visit appletonmuseum.org.
Hospice of Marion County has an urgent need for volunteers to share a conversation with someone, run errands, hold someone's hand. All you need is a willingness to help others. Our volunteers believe the blessings they receive far exceed the services they offer. Will you consider serving, caring, and making a difference? Call today, 873-7441. Hospice of Marion County, making more moments of life possible.
Hi, this is Vanessa Lane Jennings with the Jennings Law Firm, located here in beautiful Ocala. Join me every single Friday at 10:30 for Legal Lane. We'll be discussing various legal topics such as family law, criminal law, contracts, and much more. So this is your chance to call in with your legal questions and have them answered. That's every Friday, 10:30, right here, WOCA The Source.
Veterans are the foundation upon which our freedom is built. Listen to The Source, WOCA, each Thursday at 9 a.m. to Veterans News with Hank Whittier from Vets Helping Vets. You'll hear tributes, information on veterans issues, and stories that will make you laugh, cry, and feel proud. Veterans News always focuses on the military, past and present, and on our first responders. Veterans News is brought to you each week by Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens and Nursery, keeping you blooming since 1952. Robin, how do you like my design?
You're designing a box?
That's not a box. It's a doghouse.
Rough draft for your rough? Sounds like you need personal service.
I do?
Yes, to print the blueprints. See Mark at the Personal Service Center. He can print blueprints, notarize permit applications, print and mail out invoices, and even provide great-looking business cards.
Personal Service Center. That's the one on the corner of Northeast 25th Avenue and 24th Street, right?
Just look for the yellow signs. Your pedigree palace will be a reality in no time.
All right, 19 minutes after 9 o'clock. Looks like it's 82 degrees here. The rain came, the rain went. Let's return now to Carol Ann Baldwin and you in the garden with Carol Ann. If you have a comment, question, just want to say hi, the number is the same, 622-9622.
And I had mentioned that I had just gotten back actually into the garden after not being able to garden for about a little better than a month, probably about 6 weeks.
Did it feel good to get back in there?
Yeah, it did. Pulling weeds and all that fun stuff, and being able to get down there and get back up. And
what I meant to tell you, this morning we were having a discussion on things Americans spend the most money on.
Right.
And the number one thing was groceries, so we'll just go there.
Yeah, you got to eat.
A lot of that stuff comes from the garden.
Right.
But the number 6 thing with $40 billion a year is lawn care.
Yeah, and that's the lawn. That's not necessarily the landscape. Yeah, that's the green stuff we mow off. We throw fertilizer down to force it to grow and then mow it off. So that's one of those things where the principles through that Florida-friendly landscaping. Just proper integrated pest management, getting rid of turf grasses in lawns if you don't need them, choosing turf grasses that are lower maintenance or lower fertility needs and things like that, or lower pest issues. Are where a lot of people are trying to go, is that there's so much money spent on this green stuff on the ground that we mow off. We throw fertilizer on it to force it to grow, and then we come out with the lawnmower and cut it off. But I mean, to me, turf is needed in yards. If you like to sit out in your yard, you like a little bit of grass. I know Florida grasses aren't something you're going to take off your shoes and go wandering through. They're just not soft.
But they can be. I've gone on some lawns that were really nice.
Sometimes they're fluffy, but the grass themselves, the texture of the grass itself, isn't the same kind of thing as a northern lawn. I know some will say that it doesn't. To me, it does offer a recharge area to assist with the aquifer if you're not filling it full of chemical all the time. If you have pets, your dogs or cats, you need a yard where they can do their thing. If you have children, you need something. If you entertain, you need places for to outside on those kind of things, that you don't want to put a concrete deck out there and get rid of the areas where rainwater could go back into the ground and things like that. Water permeable landscape. But it is something, our turf grasses are something that we do spend billions of dollars a year on, and a lot of times, the more you spend, the more problems you're actually causing. The more care you give, the more problems you're causing. And I've gone through it before. I've got, that there's, if you over fertilize, you cause an overabundance of top growth, which means you have to mow more often, which also brings in more pest issues, more disease issues, more thatch buildups. It's whole string of different things. And there's been some people saying, I put fertilizer down a few weeks ago and my grass is still yellow. Well, if you're using just a basic turf fertilizer this time of year, that just might happen because the grass can't take it up properly and process it. So that's why usually, and that's probably one of those other reasons why people don't listen, pay attention, research, find out what their lawn really needs to be used, to have put on it. That some of the areas have taken some of those nitrogen-based fertilizers off the shelf, that you need to be using a different product on that lawn. You need to be going for your iron and your micronutrients versus all that, just the nitrogen source. And here, let's feed this grass. The nitrogen makes it green. Well, not always. Yeah.
Interesting stuff. It's almost like you have to be a mini scientist or something.
You just have to know you just have to find out what it is you're doing.
What works?
What works for what you have, for where you live, and what you have out in your landscape.
And we have another phone call.
Fantastic.
Good morning. You're on the air with Carol Ann Baldwin.
Good morning, Carol Ann.
Yeah, hey, Sonny.
I agree with everything you're saying. The only thing is, like last week I called because the grass is starting to look anemic because of all the rain, I guess, and the fact that it's growing so fast that you wind up having to cut it twice a week.
Yep.
Otherwise, it's like knee-deep to a giraffe.
Oh, yeah.
And it's you wind up spending more time out there remowing it, getting rid of the clumps. But I use a fertilizer that's a long-term release or time-released fertilizer.
Right.
And I try to get one with iron in it. and I only apply it like twice a year. But last week I asked you about applying a little fertilizer down now, simply because the grass was looking, a little anemic.
Right.
But other than that's all I do is maybe once or twice a year.
Right.
I put this time release stuff down.
Right, and in between that, a lot of times, because has the grass gotten past that chlorotic, that yellow or pale state since you put that down?
I haven't put it down recently, but not with the time release fertilizer. It does stay green pretty much year round, except for a few patches.
Right.
But I find myself, seems to me, you got to put down 10 pounds of bug killer for every pound of fertilizer you put down.
Well, yeah.
So I might be guilty of putting down too much insecticide, but other than that, I don't think putting a time release fertilizer down twice a year is that extreme.
No,
I'll hang up and listen. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Sonny. No, you are actually doing it the right way. With a time release, there's a couple brands out there on the market that are a slow release. They're a 50% slow release nitrogen, which means that little bit of fertilizer is coated to where it will release much more slowly over an extended period of time, feeding for a longer time, which is what you really need. That's what we advocate for. If you notice, those bags that are those high slow release will say that they are BMP compliant, that's Better Management Practices, or that they're compliant with all Florida fertilizer regulation. And a lot of times those fertilizers are a little less expensive, which is kind of funny. Or it may be a bigger bag than the big name brands, or they're not advertised as much, but they are compliant, and to use them a couple of times a year, that's perfect. And if you're getting the one with the iron, it's a slow release within that nitrogen source. That iron is probably a little more readily available, but there are folks out there who wish to use the name brand ones. And if you go out there and just put a general purpose fertilizer down in June, July, or August, it doesn't do anything but make that grass grow if it doesn't burn it. Because of the temperatures, because it can't take it up fast enough. You get the runoff because of our heavy rains and things like that during this time of year, and it doesn't green it. If it's just a general purpose fertilizer or turf fertilizer, the iron with some of them contain manganese and magnesium, things like that. That's what that grass needs in the summertime. It doesn't need any extra nitrogen. This time of year, and if you put that down now, it's not going to interfere with your ability to put down a complete fertilizer as the early fall starts to come in. It won't affect that. It'll actually bolster the grass without forcing any top growth. And like Sonny said, he's using one slow release a couple times a year. He's probably got it about down right, and he might be doing a little overkill on the insecticides. It's read and follow label instructions, because if you put down too much, the only thing you're doing is throwing money on the ground. It doesn't work any better. It's the whole thing like taking your cough medicine. Right. 2 teaspoons every 4 hours is fine. Taking 4 teaspoons every 4 hours just makes you drink the bottle faster.
I have a question about the insecticides. If you have a dog with fleas, and there's a product you buy for your carpet that says it will kill the flea and the flea egg,
right?
Do you worry about the eggs of the critters outside when you're putting down insecticide, or
you're not going to find one outside that's going to take care of the eggs?
Okay.
It's just the growth regulators, at least not that I know of, or ones that are over the counter, as my way of call, that you can find them. Normally, if you're not real worried about them as much if you're taking care of the yard, if you're taking care, using a product on or in your pet, either an oral or a topical, and taking care of the house with that. If your pet is pretty well flea-free, you're not real worried about them out in the yard. I have a coworker she has 3 dogs. One of her dogs is they can't do the flea treatments on. The dog is too sensitive to it. Right. Makes the dog, violently ill, so you're not going to do that. But the other 2 are treated. They don't have a flea problem, and neither does that other dog.
Well, that's the answer
Because
to that
it
problem.
keeps it, it's just already, it's taken care of.
Just amazing.
Yeah.
All right, we will take a little break. We've got a half hour left. This is a full hour show. Carol Ann Baldwin always volunteers her time for this show, and we love her for that. We love her anyway. But P.S., I have a $20 gift certificate to give to you from Bob Wine's Community Gardens and Nursery, and I'll give it to you right now if you call me 622-9622, but I can only give one away to one of you. We'll be right back.
Fox News Radio, I'm Paul Stevens. North Korea's leader now saying he will not follow through just yet on a threat to launch missiles at the U.S. territory of Guam.
We're happy that the rhetoric is starting to calm down, perhaps, from Kim Jong-un and not at least pursuing at the moment his threats to fire missiles at Guam.
Guam Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio. U.S. officials, though, saying any missiles fired at Guam could easily start a war. More business leaders distancing themselves from President Trump after deadly violence over the weekend in Virginia.
The CEO of Intel and the founder of Under Armour last night joined Merck CEO Kenneth Frazier in leaving the panel. President Trump faced criticism for initially saying many sides were involved in the violence. Yesterday, he denounced specific groups, including the KKK.
Fox's Rachel Sutherland in Washington. Fox News. We report, you decide.
Napa know-how. For something that has anti in its name, Prestone Antifreeze and Coolant, now just $11.99 at Napa, sure is pro a lot of things. It's pro keeping your car from overheating, pro maintaining your engine from wear and tear, and pro saving you cash. Prestone Antifreeze and Coolant, just $11.99. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
At participating Napa Auto Parts stores. Offer expires 8/31/17.
There is more to me, Queen Eliara of Elfgard, than my elven magic. Just as there's more to Geico than saving you money, Geico also gives you 24/7 access to licensed agents online, on the phone, or on the Geico app. And while I am a mighty elf queen, I am also a mighty big fan of barbecue potato chips. Minions! More smoky mesquite.
Geico. Expect great savings and a whole lot more.
What do I do now? After 911, don't worry, call Fakuri. Fakuri Medical and Chiropractic, treating auto injuries for over 32 years. Same-day appointments, immediate medical attention, all under one roof. Don't worry, call Fakuri. Go to bestinjurycare.com. All auto insurances are accepted. Available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to take your call. Car accident? Don't worry, call Fakuri. bestinjurycare.com.
That was the sound of a tree falling. It could be your tree. You're going to have it trimmed, but never got around to calling Pride Tree Service. It could have fallen in a field, and now all you have to do is call Pride Tree Service, and they'll have it quickly out of the way for a great price. But don't wait until the tree falls. It may not fall in the field. It may hit your car, your house, or worse. So call Pride Tree Service today and avoid all those headaches before they happen. Pride Tree Service, 572-2510. That's 572-2510.
Whether you're just starting out in your career or ready to make a change, being a commercial pilot is within your reach. The FAA has predicted that in the next few years, the number of planes in the sky will double, and that means a lot more jobs in aviation. Ocala Aviation has teamed up with an accredited university, enabling you to get a college degree in aviation while training to be a commercial pilot. And with options like financial aid, grants, and scholarships, it's never been a better time to get your new career in aviation started today. For more information, call me at Ocala Aviation, 352-861-7484.
Hi, I'm Big Daddy Don Garlitz, asking you to support adoption by purchasing a Choose Life license plate from your county tag office. You know it costs a lot to give a child life. Many times a woman is forced to make a bad choice because of financial pressures. Help save the lives of the unborn children by aiding women whom choose life instead of abortion. Take a stand for life. Purchase your Choose Life license plate today. For more information, go to chooselife.org or call 352-624-2854.
Career Source, Citrus, Levy, Marion brings together business and community partners, economic development leaders, and educational providers to connect employers with qualified, skilled talent and job seekers with employment and career development opportunities. Tune in the third Wednesday of each month at 9:30 a.m. to Career Source, Citrus, Levy, Marion, and learn how they can help you.
Cookies, 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 cookies. We go cookie eating cookies.
When you want something special and fun for any occasion, get cookies. King Cookie in the Paddock Mall in Ocala will make a delicious, fun-filled delight just for you. So next time you're in the mall, stop by King Cookie or call 352-237-2557. KingCookieOcala.com. Customized cookies, cakes, and more. King Cookie.
Eating cookies. We're so happy eating cookies. Cookies!
25 minutes before 10 o'clock. A little drizzle now, and otherwise it's a nice looking day out there. Carol Ann Baldwin is here to talk to you about what you can do on this nice day out in your lawn, in your garden.
Yeah. It's a little drizzly out there right now, which is it's all right. But we are, you're getting ready to come into. You're just kind of right now. We're maintaining the gardens and things like that right now. Vegetables are just getting ready to start back in on those. Actually, I planted some green beans today. And do I always call it the repeat spring garden, where you can put in tomatoes again, you can put in squash, you can put in green beans and things like that, and get another spring harvest out of plants, out of the garden before we really start to put the cool season crops in, because the cool season crops are they're not going to do well until we begin to cool down, and you're looking at October, November on those kind of things. So you can get your tomatoes in and have fresh tomatoes for your Thanksgiving or Christmas dinner. You can have your green beans coming in, and you might I'd probably put off starting any more of the seeds for the cool season stuff for another month probably, because you're looking at 4 to 6 weeks from the time of the seed going into a little pot till a transplant size. So hold off on starting your cool season stuff for another few weeks, but go ahead and if you've got your little tomato plants, put them in the ground. Little pepper plants, you can put those in the ground. Start some green beans, start some squash, some cucumbers over again, and you'll be good to go. And start harvesting. You like to do any of your own cooler weathered flowers, again, that same kind of thing. You don't want to have your petunias or your pansies ready to put in the garden on the 1st of October, because they will wilt out. They will just melt in the garden. It's still too warm for those plants until we've gotten a little further in. Petunias maybe you'll go in early November and survive, but the pansies and things like that, you're really looking to wait until probably December even for those kind of plants. So, but if you can find your seed, mark your calendar back so that you can count it in and see what you'll have, and then start your seed from those times a year.
So I've told you about my vine that seems to invade everything on my
right,
especially in the front. And it's like a battle to get rid of this thing.
Right.
Well, anyway, part of it has found a home on one of the trellises that had nothing else on it before.
Okay.
And so I'm leaving it there.
Okay.
And it's kind of pretty.
Yeah.
And it actually has little flowers on it.
Oh, sure.
What is that? What is that?
I mean, you have to send us a picture of the flowers.
Gosh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, I got an assignment.
Here's one of those things. Hey, Carol Ann, I got this green plant.
What is it?
Yeah, what is it?
I just did a faux pas. I just did what everybody does.
Yeah, and I mean, with the right questions, we can sometimes get those answered, but a lot better to go with the visual.
Gosh, I wish I thought to take a picture of it.
Because there's a few of them.
It's got these little bell-shaped flowers on it. I mean, little, like, oh my gosh, the size of, I don't know, the point of a pencil.
Oh, wow, little teeny flowers.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd have to. Yeah, that's one.
All right, I'll have to take a picture. I got an assignment.
Let's figure out Larry's.
Guilty as charged. Asking a stupid question.
Well, no, it's one of those ones. It is kind of funny though when and people do look at, because I guess that's one of those whole things that when somebody says, "Yeah, I've got this plant in my yard," I go, "Okay, it's green. Okay, yeah, keep going. It flowers. Hey, we're getting somewhere. What color's the flower? Oh, I don't know."
But it's so annoying because it gets into everything.
Yeah.
and then it's so hard to cut,
to get it out of there.
Yeah.
Well, your best way to kill it out, with it is when vines are so much easier to kill when they're small. Because, like if it's one that dies back in the winter, it's a perennial vine, comes back up in the spring. The best time to start to try to kill it off would be in the springtime when the shoots are just coming out of the ground. It gets hard because we don't see them. We don't necessarily notice it until they're coming up through the middle of the shrubs and climbing up the side of the house and things like that.
By the way, have you seen the vine in the foyer here, the lobby?
Oh, I forgot to look when I came in. It's probably attacking and everything. It's so pretty. Yeah, I know last week it had the real nice dark, almost a burgundy leaf
big
kind
leaves,
of thing.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing it is probably a Jamaican.
That's what
sweet
Frank
potato
said. That's what Frank
because
said,
the air potato is a bright green, but again, they are kind of related.
But here's the thing. Patsy and Robin like it.
Yeah.
I think it looks nice.
I think it's pretty cool.
Patsy
put it in a pot put a little trellis with it, and it'd probably be. Yeah.
Patsy wants it to kind of cover the wall out there. She thinks that'll be
neat.
pretty.
Yeah.
Joe does not want this.
No, Joe doesn't.
So it might create a little bit of a problem. That plant.
We'll see. They put a trellis, keep it contained, and it
does look pretty though.
It does.
I agree with everybody who thinks it looks. But I wondered if it was not killing the poinsettia that it's attaching itself to.
Well, it's not actually attaching. It might wrap around. If it gets tight, it might need to be cut back. Cut it off of there. But yeah, it's a tough one. Yeah, just cut them. Speaking of poinsettia, I'm glad you mentioned that. I saw a post the other day where somebody was saying, should I pinch back my poinsettias? Should I do this? Should I do that? It's in the ground. Remember, here we are in August, and I'm going to talk about Christmas plants. As we always seem to get a little ahead of ourselves, but. Remember that with your poinsettias and your Christmas cactus, wherever they're situated right now, the days are still pretty long. But if you notice, they're getting a little bit shorter each. It's not by much. But it's one of those things that come, say, September, October, when the days really do begin to get shorter. Wherever those plants are located. They need to be, when it's dark outside, it needs to be dark where they're at. If that's shutting that porch light off on that side of the house, if it's making sure that the room darkening shades are pulled so that you don't have the light from that room you sit and watch TV or that you read in outside there, reflecting out the windows to put artificial light, because your poinsettias won't color up even though it's artificial light. It's enough to trick them into thinking that the days are still long. If you have the poinsettias in the ground and they're tall and they're lanky and such, normally we pinch them as they grow to keep it a little more bushy, to have more what they call bracts, the color, the top there where they'll flower and color up. You pinch them as they're growing. For every foot they grow, we're usually cutting them back 6 inches or so, and that'll keep them bushy. You might get one more cut back this time of year before you want to stop, or just let them be. Next year, prune them as they're growing. If we're lucky, we don't get a frost before Christmas, to where we have them, being attractive in the landscape, offering us our color, for Christmas. If they are calling for freezes right before Christmas, there is a way to bring poinsettia flowers in the house that aren't in the pot. I had looked it up, I think last year. You just need to have your either like a little butane torch or some scalding hot water.
Really?
And that when you cut them, because they have a milky sap, you cut a poinsettia and it starts to ooze out.
Yeah.
You sear that off. And that stops that.
Stop it from bleeding,
from oozing, and
Oh man! See, now Robin has one of these poinsettia plants, and she's going to New York. So I volunteered to be the babysitter of the plants.
You get to water.
Meaning
the
I go over there and
water
whatever.
plants. Yeah.
I just hope I don't kill them all.
How long is she going to be gone?
A week.
You might need to water them once, if that.
Yeah.
If she waters all of her plants well, and even if they're sitting in on a patio, usually most plants will get by. That they'll do. You just stick your finger in, make sure that they're not, you don't want to water something that's already still wet.
See, on my own plants, I don't care.
Right.
If they die, who cares?
If they right.
I don't want to kill somebody else's plants.
Exactly. It's like, babysitting somebody's goldfish and having the goldfish get,
right.
turn belly up. You may not have done anything wrong, but you feel bad. But no, it's houseplants when people are going away and things, and a lot of folks do this time of year. They'll go away for a short time because northern states haven't gone back to school. You go see the grandkids one more time,
Right.
and if you water them well, usually they'll be all right by the time you get back.
Looks like we're up against the break, so let's take that break and we will be right back. We've got 15 minutes left in this program. If you have a question for Carol Ann about your garden, your lawn, your flowers, your plants, your mulch, your fertilizer, your equipment that you use in your garden, the pests, what else can I say? Any tree-related questions? All of the above. Carol Ann is a master gardener. She can tackle all of them. The number is 622-9622. We'll be back in about 2.5 minutes.
Weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. On this Tuesday, partly sunny with a thunderstorm in parts of the area, the high between 90 and 94. Then for Tuesday night, partly cloudy, though 74 to 78. Wednesday, intervals of clouds and sun. It'll be a very warm and humid day with a shower or thunderstorm around, mainly during the afternoon hours over the interior, high 90 to 94. Thursday, clouds and some sun with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm, high 89 to 93. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm Joe Lundberg.
Ocala Business Leaders Incorporated is a group of independent local firms providing a wide range of quality goods and services. Each firm strives to maintain the highest level of professional integrity and 100% customer satisfaction. When you're looking for goods and services, call a member of the Ocala Business Leaders, and we are confident you will be pleased with the results. If you are interested in becoming a member of the Ocala Business Leaders, join us at the Ocala Elks Lodge, 25th Avenue in Ocala, any Wednesday at 7 a.m. and enjoy a breakfast on us. For more information, check OcalaBusinessLeaders.com.
Here's what you may have missed on the John Tesh Radio Show.
When we're stressed, we tend to take shallower breaths. If our brain isn't getting enough oxygen, it'll send signals to our body telling it to yawn deeply in order to get more air. Female Tinder users are 98% less likely to swipe right on your profile if your bio section is blank. Taking breaks does, in fact, help boost our mood and makes us more creative and productive.
Intelligence for your life on the John Tesh Radio Show. Don't miss this stuff.
If you or a loved one is suffering with knee, shoulder, neck, back pain, or tennis elbow and would like to learn how to get out of pain, go to Regenetic.com. Then listen in on the first and third Thursday at 10 a.m. to the people that give you the regenerative medical solutions to your pain. Regenetic. First and third Thursdays, 10 a.m. here on WOCA 96.3 FM, 1370 AM. The Source. Regenetic.com.
This is the beat of a normal heart. Now this is the beat of a heart of someone who just snorted or injected or smoked methamphetamine. Why? For a high. And this is what happens to that normal heartbeat. It's irregular, it's racing, it's why it's called speed, and it can do bizarre things to our heads. It can make us aggressive and violent. We can start hallucinating and end up doing some serious damage to people. Call 1-8888-NO-METH today for more information on methamphetamine. That's 1-8888-NO-METH.
A message from the Partnership for a Drug-Free Florida and America.
All right, 12 minutes before 10 o'clock, 82 degrees, a little bit overcast, but it looks like a blue sky. Nice blue sky. Carol Ann Baldwin is here. If you have a question for Carol Ann, the area code is 352, and then the number is 622-9622 if you want to be on the air and talk to Carol Ann.
Yeah. And of course, and don't forget about the Facebook page, the In the Garden.
Yes.
It is a group page.
Yes.
Just ask to be a member.
I haven't looked at it this morning. What's anything new on there?
Not a whole lot, I don't think. I mean, I was there a minute ago, but
let's see.
One of those.
So what is your resource? You just go to the IFAS website? Well, like when you have a question, where do you go?
Yeah, I use the IFAS webpage often, to find things. A couple other sites. I mean, just going on to Google itself and going through and then reading a few different ones, whether or not, whatever there is popping up, and taking that information and using it together. But the IFAS one's going to give me mostly what I'm going to need here in Florida. Which is important, right? Which is more important. I don't really need to know how it's going to do in Nebraska.
That's right.
That doesn't. It's not going to pertain climate-wise to us. But sometimes, you may look and find out, because there might be some research that was done, and you can take it and mesh a few things together and work with it that way. and get a little bit, maybe a better answer.
Carolyn, you have a phone call? Good morning. You're on the air with Carolyn.
Hello, how are you?
Good. Good morning.
Good morning. We have a gardenia bush, and we have it planted on a patio, and part of the patio is open, and part of it has a cover.
Okay.
And it seems to be distressed by the heat.
Mm-hmm.
Are they better in a mostly shaded area than a sunny area, or
most definitely?
What?
Yeah, they are. Most of your gardenias would prefer to be in something that would give you filtered light, and depending on the variety, you say it's on a patio, so it's in a pot. Make sure the pot is large enough. Most gardenias can be a pretty decent sized shrub. And so to put it in a pot, unless it's one of the smaller varieties, you got to make sure that pot's going to be big enough that it's going to stay not wet, but you'll be able to keep it moist. And again, the not direct sunlight. Generally, if it has some morning sun, they'll be okay. The hot afternoon sun, they will burn. A little bit of fertilizer, generally in it, the azalea, camellia, gardenia fertilizer is an acid-forming fertilizer. So using something like that,
like the mirror acid.
Yeah, that one. I'm not a big fan of liquid fertilizers, except for when something's coming out of a stressful situation, maybe, and it needs to be perked back up. I prefer a slower release fertilizer, like a granulated, that's going to last a couple months versus a couple weeks at a time, because when we use our liquid fertilizers, we sometimes don't pay attention enough and realize how often we're using them, and we can build up a salt buildup.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that sounds good. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah,
thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Gardenias, there are a couple of gardenias that will do well in pots. I think it's the Vecchi, or it's a smaller gardenia. So if you have a nice sized pot, but if you buy a gardenia in a 2-gallon pot, that root zone, you need to step into something minimally one size larger, preferably 2 or 3 sizes, so that has a chance to get a decent root zone going, or you will be changing that pot out every year. So if you go ahead and step it up to something of a decent size where it can live several years in that pot, before you might be needing to actually take it out, take out the soil, put fresh soil and all of that in to keep it healthy. So, I mean, you can put hibiscus into containers. You can put azaleas in containers. You can put gardenias in containers. Just make sure wherever you're putting that container, it's in the right location for lighting, and it's big enough to hold that plant. If you're going to turn it into a bonsai, that's different. You're starting with a much smaller plant to begin with, but you were cutting roots, you're pruning roots and things like that. If you're growing it to have a nice size, really, pretty blooming shrub on a patio, make sure it's the right size pot.
Let me ask you this. If you wanted to kind of test to see a good place in your yard for a plant, would you keep it in the pot and kind of move it to this part of the yard?
It might be
kind of move it around?
It probably would. And going by the recommendations, either doing the research and looking your plant up online and seeing where it's going to do better, or the tag that came with the plant and things like that, is finding out. Because sometimes you may have a nice location on 2 different sides of the house, but you might try it there and see how does it do, or move it over here.
How long do you wait before you decide it's going to do well or not going to do well? A month?
Yeah, maybe a month.
Yeah, wow.
I mean, because to try to keep some in a nursery pot, that when you buy it, trying to keep it a whole lot longer in some of those pots, you actually start to do some damage, because it starts to get really root bound in those pots.
Oh, okay.
So, if you put something, but you can move things that are planted. You just need to do that again at the correct time of year. If you planted something now, and or say you planted something in June on one side of the house, and you find out it's not really doing well. Here it's August. I would wait to move it till about November, December, when you're past that heat stress. Even though we get a lot of rain right now, it's the other stresses that are going on. You don't want it to grow top growth when you're transplanting it. You want it to grow a root zone. So we usually move things in the garden that are in the garden, established in the garden, in the cooler time of year.
So is my apple tree in a flower pot going to have a hard time when it gets out into the real world? It's been in air conditioning its whole life.
It's been in air conditioning. Yeah, it probably is going to need to eventually move into something that's going to be a little more like an outdoor, because it's being treated like a houseplant.
Yeah. Okay.
And so, but I mean, he's tiny. He's okay for now. So he's doing all right.
Maybe I'll put it on my porch.
Yeah, put it on the porch. Get it with a little more sun. You may find it'll start doing a little better. I mean,
really?
It may do a little more growing.
A lot of sun comes in here, though. No.
Yeah, but you figure that it's coming through a window, which can be, I don't guess that actually doesn't have much tint to it, does it? The window.
It doesn't look like it, does it?
I'm not sure if it does or not. But you figure that's a thick glass. What is the glass actually? Refractions and things like that on.
I think it's a double pane.
Yeah, double pane. I'm sure.
My gosh, it always goes quick. We got about 5 minutes left. If you want to squeeze in a phone call, you are certainly invited to do that. The number is 622-9622. Maybe you're going to buy a plant as a gift and you want to kind of get it all ready. And as Caroline mentioned, it's still a little ways off from Christmas, but not in the plant world.
Not really.
This is about the time, right?
This is the time to be thinking of things like that, or even other gifts that are for the garden. Because as we know, even though we're in Florida and we garden year round, corporate America doesn't pay attention to that. And sometimes these certain items will go off of the shelf and they won't come back in until the springtime. So you might keep an eye out for pots that are going on sale. If you're looking for some nice containers, a lot of times this time of year they will clearance out, or they begin to. If you're looking at new pruners for your yard or as a gift, you might find them now, because again, it's sometimes those items don't come in real quickly and that they'll be out of stock for a while. But just as a quick reminder, because it's the soonest thing that'll be coming up the soonest one is the Vegetable Garden Expo, Saturday, September 9th from 9 to 1 at the County Extension Office over on Old Jacksonville Road. And also October the 7th is the fall plant sale. So if you're looking for fruit trees or ornamental trees, shade trees or shrubs, all kinds of native plants and things like that, there's your fall plant sale, and there's Master Gardener's sale. It's things that have been grown right there at the Extension Office. They will grow and do well in our location, and that's a big thing, is knowing that you don't mail order for some of these trees. They may not grow here. If you buy it locally, it's something that's been shown. Yes, it will grow here.
And that's a great opportunity to make a little plug for Bob Wines.
Exactly.
They will put big trees in. Did I tell you my idea for a fun joke?
No.
Like a prank on a child?
No, what's it?
Like you plant an acorn in the morning when the child goes to school.
Right.
And then while the child is in school, you have Bob Wines come out and plant an oak tree. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I would do it the same day, but what a fun thing to do is actually take a plastic flower pot and cut the bottom out of it and plant your big sunflower seed in that pot in the ground, and watch this gigantic 12-foot sunflower grow out of the little 6-inch pot. It just looks kind of cool.
Oh, because it wouldn't if there was no bottom.
Right.
I mean, if there was a bottom, it wouldn't grow.
Right.
On the AgNet shows, they were talking about sunflowers, and that sounds like a fun thing to grow. I mean,
they are fun, especially if you grow like the big, the mammoth giants and things like that, where they grow. You can pretty well watch them grow, and they're a good attractor for good insects, as well as they can be what we call a banker plant, and some of the bad bugs will go to that and stay away from your garden.
Oh, really?
Or that you would be able to treat the foliage on that, and the good bugs are up on the top.
So big. They're just gigantic.
They're just kind of fun.
How long do they stay looking good?
It depends on how quickly the squirrels or the birds will find
out. Oh, they all eat them.
That they will eat them. Actually, sometimes the squirrels won't even let the plant grow. They'll actually chew the top off of it before it even comes up. So,
oh, no.
Good luck with them.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Caroline, for
Larry.
always doing this, and we'll see you next week. Have a good day. Today's your day off?
My day off, yeah.
All right, good for you. Thank you for taking time out of your day off to do this.
Oh, my pleasure.
My pleasure. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Fox News Radio, I'm Paul Stevens. North